first and foremost, when you have a brand new agent come in, we throw them through Rise, which is a Reside program, 6 weeks long. And I mean, it's boot camp for how to call these leads, how to nurture these leads. So yeah, they might be top of funnel leads, but the reason you struggle is because you don't know how to handle them. Our agents now know how to handle them, and they're converting them not as high as Zillow, but I mean, when you're paying $6 a lead to $400 a lead, like that conversion doesn't have to be as high.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to your favorite podcast, the Reside Platform Podcast. I'm your host today, Saneet Agarwal, and I am sitting down with Geoff Cavender, team leader of the Cavender team out of Indiana. Geoff, what's cracking, buddy? How's it going?
Hey, Zaneet. Thanks for having me. Loving it. I've been watching this podcast for a while, so I'm glad to have a crack at it.
So you've been watching it or listening to it?
Listening to it, yeah.
Listening to it? I'm super curious. What do you listen to podcasts on?
I do it right through like Apple, and if they don't have it on Apple, Spotify.
Okay, good to know. Good to know. I was getting that data. So back to Geoff. Geoff's built this great team out there in Indiana, and he's really crushing it with recruiting, systems, and lead gen. Today, we're going to talk about how he built it, how he leads it, and what's working right now in today's market. Let's dive in. So, Geoff, you've built this great business in Warsaw, 20-person team, increasing your numbers every year. How did that get started for you? Like, what was the first thing that made you think, okay, I can build something here?
Yeah, so really, I was a top team at Remax before I came here, but where we were at, that was 6 agents. It only took us 6 agents to be the top team there. We did 46 million in sales, and I just did not have any, elevate the people that are around you. I had nobody from that company like saying, hey, here's guys doing 50 million, 100 million, like you should hang out with them. And so what I just decided was I have to elevate the people I'm around. So then I started to do my research and stuff, and I found the brokerage I joined now that is super inclusive on, when I joined them, I said, hey, I'm the top Remax team in Indiana. And they were like, oh, so you're not really shit yet, are you? I said, no, I thought I was, but I guess not, which I wasn't, because that's what I was looking for. I was tired of just getting all the trophies every February. And they were shocked at what I was doing. I wanted people that they would tell me, well, you can do so much more. You can do so much better. So I left, went to EXP, and I only came here with 2 other agents. So we started it with 3 agents 2.5 years ago. And then about a year and a half into it, we were around 10, 12 agents. Then I joined up with Reside, and that's just been the catalyst. That's now we're at 25 agents and open an expansion office, which I predict to have us up to about 50 agents by like July.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Thanks for the plug too. Good. Yeah. So going from a solo agent to leading a team, and maybe even a smaller team to a bigger team, it's a big deal, and it's not easy. Take it from me. What was that transition like?
It's still not easy. Like, keeping a team profitable is extremely hard with the growth that you try to do. You can almost try to grow faster than the team allows, because you're, as the team leader, you're ahead of everything else, and you see the vision and all this stuff makes sense. But financially, the team's not there yet. So you kind of get yourself into ruts, which is why I've still stayed in production. And so I float the team on those times, because I can see that vision, the 5-year out vision, where there's a big downline organization, there's a big team, and I don't have to sell anymore. But the way it's set up right now, still I am, but we're getting really close to that level point. But it was super hard, because we all can just sell more houses. Why help other people? I always had that care of like, even if I get 30% of a deal, that means another agent gets 70, their family, their kids. And I have agents on my team now that just cross over 50 deals in a year, going to make over $400,000 for their family. Like, that's what really gets me going. So.
Yeah, dude. It's always about the people, right? It's always about the agents on the team and the consumers who trust us, right? As leaders, we have this big duty, a fiduciary duty, like we do to our real estate clients for their best intentions. So I love that. Were there any early moments where you're all, damn, this leadership stuff is a whole new game?
Yeah, in good ways and in bad ways. Like, I remember months I lost like $50,000, which would like cripple any normal person. And I just kept to that vision. There were months where I had agents buying brand new vehicles, and we do a really good job of shouting out to agents when they hit these big milestones. I just had an agent that made more last month than she made in an entire year at her corporate job. The moments like that way outweigh the losing 50 grand,
So talking about growing, let's get into some KFR recruiting. What do you look for when you're bringing somebody onto your team, and how do you know this is a trick question, that it's going to be a good fit?
Culture first and foremost, hungry, humble, smart. KFR pushes that. We're like John just had us. We have to call 25 people and text 25 people before Saturday.
Before tomorrow at 9 a.m. Yeah, 23 hours, bro.
Yeah. So I mean, like KFR pushes the limits on that. I've kind of tailored my system like what Nick McLean showed us with those Indeed ads, and I love the brand new agents. I know that a lot of people think the market's already flooded or whatever, but brand new agents have just been like gold for me. They absorb things like a sponge. They follow our culture. They're not, I don't know about tainted or whatever, but they're not with the bad habits. So I've been really focusing on those brand new agents and created them through Nick's Indeed and CE shop portal.
So the whole scholarship thing,
Yeah, that's been amazing.
and you're running it just like Nick showed us.
Word for word. I had with EXP was finicky. I had to like take that out of there or whatever. And I actually had to make a brand new Indeed account. I couldn't even like
Yeah.
just make a new post. It was such a pain. But once it was up and running, I mean, we had to like stop it because we had like 200 applicants within a month. And I was like,
Oh,
I'm not
dude.
there yet. So
Huge. So running a scholarship for everyone listening and watching, our co-founder Nick McLean is big on the scholarship thing, and Geoff did it. Well, why don't you just drop a couple gems on what it is, so for people listening?
yeah, so it's a really tailored Indeed ad, which we're like Zillow Flex team, so we can put that in there. That kind of benefits us, but it's a whole thing: how much you're going to make as a realtor, or how much you can make, what we offer, and that's the Indeed part of it. But then you can set up a portal with the CE shop for free, and they give you 10% of what anybody spends with them. They give everybody that goes through it 40% off, and it's your own portal. So managing brokers across the county do not get a notification when somebody comes through and finishes it like they do normally. Indeed, they apply, they instantly get a message saying, here's our link to go and apply. And they're right into CE before they ever even speak to me.
Yeah, dude, super good. I'm glad that's way to implement that fast. That's something I like about you is you're a fast implementer, and I'm glad it's working, dude. Yeah,
Oh,
hell yeah. So let's talk about lead gen now, because everyone wants to know how the top dogs are doing it. What's been working best for your team lately when it comes to generating consistent, high quality leads?
we were just Zillow before. Once we got with Reside, we started with Ylopo, and Ylopo is Google Leads. And like I was telling you before we hopped on, I had the owner of an NFL franchise come through as a Google lead that I closed. I had a guy that bought a $3 million home, a $7 million home, all come through as Google Leads,
Wow.
which typically that's thought of as, top of the funnel, but we just did it accurately and we targeted specific areas. So we're big Zillow still. Like we're actually in the process of converting to Zillow Flex because we were still Zillow Premier, but it was nice being the size that we were when this came around because they said, hands down, you're the only one. We have 25 agents. Nobody even comes close. So I know in a lot of markets, people are freaking out because they're like Zillow Flex is shrinking and only going to the top dogs. So, I mean, Reside probably, saved my team almost from losing that, which just a lead source, like we still have a team, but we're real big on Zillow and Google. And then we also use a guy, Austin Chevron, who really hammers in the referral SOI stuff for us.
Oh, cool, cool. So tell me about the Google stuff, because you're right. A lot of people hate on the Google leads because of how hard they are, especially when people get spoiled from the leads like crack from Zillow Flex, right?
Right.
So what's the process with those Google leads, bro?
Well, first and foremost, when you have a brand new agent come in, we throw them through Rise, which is a Reside program, 6 weeks long. And I mean,
It's
it's
so good.
boot camp for how to call these leads, how to nurture these leads. So yeah, they might be top of funnel leads, but the reason you struggle is because you don't know how to handle them.
Sure.
Our agents now know how to handle them, and they're converting them not as high as Zillow, but I mean, when you're paying $6 a lead to $400 a lead, like that conversion doesn't have to be as high.
It doesn't have to be nearly as high. Yeah, good.
Getting a load more.
So Rise is something that you implement, and obviously, well, for everyone watching and listening, Rise is taught by our director of agent growth. Her name is Mia Yamashita. She's done about 10 podcasts. So if you want to know more about Rise, go through the YouTube or wherever you're watching podcasts and check out Mia. She's a force, right?
Yeah, Mia, thank you for everything you've done for my agents.
Yes, and your agents love her too, I bet.
Oh yeah, they do.
Yeah, everyone loves Mia. So what about the mindset about working leads? How do you nurture that outside of Rise?
Yeah, we do. That's where my training comes in. So we have Reside, we have Chevron, and then we have me. And my training is on that mindset and mentality because I've been there and done it. And I really have to stress into people, don't compare your chapter 1 or 2 to my chapter 50. And that's why I think it's important to be in the trenches. So we do morning prospecting. I'm on those calls too. I'm not calling the leads. I'm obviously doing my KFR and recruiting, but I'm in the trenches right there with them. I think that's huge for them. And, I always come back to it in a coaching manner of asking them questions of, why they didn't convert that lead, why that deal fell through. So I'm there mindset wise with them that this is a process. Like, you're early on. I've been in it a long time. So we're not the same. When I can sit there and make calls, they're like, how do you do that? Do this for 8 years straight. That's how you do that.
Yeah, I mean, people can have a hard time getting over that hesitation to call leads, right?
Mm-hmm.
What do you do about that?
We tie the leads to the calls. So we all use FUB. So within FUB, you track conversations. So if they're not hitting the amount of conversations they need to hit, then they don't even get the leads at all.
Yeah.
Tried to not make it that way, but I mean, it's like you had to.
You
Nothing.
have to adhere to the standards to get the opportunities, 100%. So, dude, you just said you sold to an NFL team owner?
Yeah, as a Google lead. Yep.
Dude, and the lead went to you or what?
No, the lead came into the pond. I got a notification walking around on my cell phone. I'd recognized the name and I was like, scam. But I recognized the address. In our area, we have luxury properties. So I'm well aware of everyone that's listed, above 5 million. And I was like, okay, well, that would make sense. That would be a house they'd be interested in. And I knew the dad had passed away. So I real quick looked at it and just pulled it out of the pond. And it took me 3 days of calling, and I had to use the whole off market listing tool to get them to actually call me back. And from there, we closed on one of my listings that I hadn't even listed yet off market. And I back ended that guy into a $7 million home. So I got
Yeah, dude, what a big win. So, from when that lead came in to when you met him, how long was that?
I would say it was like less than 10 days.
Yo, everyone listening who wants to talk shit about Google Leads, this is a NFL team owner in Indiana. Do the math yourself, right? She comes in, Google Lead, it's in the pond. God, that must have raised your blood pressure, dude. You're like, why didn't anybody else call this damn lead?
I know. Which, I mean, it makes sense that they don't call the other leads. So
Yeah. And then you got him into that property. And now you have another crazy one where you sold a property 25 times higher than the average price in your county.
Yep.
Dude, that's wild.
I had told you I sold that same $3 million home 6 times in an 18-month span. This guy had bought it from a Google lead. He was also a Google lead.
Dude, also Google lead.
Again, it was the same thing. First, Google lead, he came in, he was about to leave on vacation, wanted to see it at home. I said, I have this one that's not listed yet, and showed it to him. But so he buys it, has it for about 6 months, and then a $7 million home gets listed. And instead of remodeling this $3 million one he bought, he said, hey, how about we check that out and go and buy that? And we did. We went through, he bought the $7 million one and had 2 more lake houses that we needed to sell.
How dope is the $7 million house?
Oh man, nicest home on the lake, in my opinion. And it was a new build. So we took it over and told them to stop what they were doing. And now he's going to spend even more to really make it, the way luxury should be.
How big is it?
7,000 square feet.
Just dope, gym, yard, everything.
And I mean, not that big of a yard because it's a lake property. So it's probably, I think it was like 0.4 acres of a lot, but you had like 100 feet of frontage on Lake Wawasee, which is a ton, and a guest house and a 7,000 square foot home that's brand new and going to be completely luxury.
Yeah, that's awesome. So the NFL team that you sold to, did they ever give you tickets to any games?
No, funny enough, I'm a Dolphins fan. So
that is funny.
Yeah. Which we didn't talk about it. Like, that was one thing where, again, somebody might freak out over that. Like, we didn't talk football. I hung out with them for 2 days, went to lunch, had a great time with them. We never talked about football. We talked about,
kept your business and not like a fanboy.
Yeah, no, yeah, I didn't. Which everybody would say that, like, oh, did you get tickets? Like, no, I'm not going to go to their games anyway. I'm a Dolphins fan. But like, they wouldn't want that. They would want their privacy. They wouldn't want to do all that. So it was a nice situation all around.
Yeah, and it makes for a killer story.
Yeah.
I hope you got a review.
I did, actually. I did.
Good job. Good job. So growth always comes with bumps, and you're experienced some and you're not done experiencing them yet. Let me tell you, speaking from experience, what's been one of the toughest parts about building your team, and how did you work through it without losing that momentum, bro?
I would say one thing we've experienced now is we grew, really 3 agents to 25 agents in like a 2 year span. The kind of the OGs and the middle saga agents have a huge disconnect now. Like we grew too fast. They don't know everybody on the team. So we don't have all that buy-in anymore that we used to. It used to be like a family when people would say that, but they knew my vision. They knew the vision of being number one in Indiana, being number one nationally, and we're not doing that with 10 agents. As a leader, you're just like, well, you knew this was coming. Like, why aren't you guys all as plugged in as I am? Like, this is the growth of the team. So that's been a bump for me, is how to really keep belonging, like make all the agents feel like they belong in this organization, and believing in it as much as I do. That's been our biggest bump that we're facing right now.
So what are you doing to get around that, dude? To overcome that?
I just took the top 20% to a growth summit where they actually talked all about belonging. It was crazy that was what they were talking about while we were there. But like bringing them in to lead the team more, giving them some accountability groups, like actually having agents that report to them, letting them handle some of the trainings and the meetings, giving them leadership. And then, taking them to an event like that, they got VIP. They all got a copy of the book autographed by the author. So things like that's what I'm trying to do to keep them feeling like they belong here, because they do.
Dude. So keeping a big team motivated and connected, like we just said, although this is a different question, isn't easy, especially when the market gets wonky. What do you do to keep everyone fired up and moving in the same direction, dude?
Well, we're very transparent with like all of our numbers. So we do share P&L. We always have, our FUB scores up, and we always have our pending, active listing, and close like for the year. And we celebrate the wins. We celebrate the little wins. So somebody's first deal, somebody's first flip, somebody's 50th deal. Like we're trying to constantly show how new agents are thriving, how the OGs are thriving. And I always reiterate my goals and let them know how close we are. So if we're not number one in Indiana, they post it every month. I'm talking to the team like, hey guys, that's our goal. Like we didn't hit it. So I keep our standards and our goals like forefront, and then celebrate the little wins.
Dude, love that. And something that you and I have talked about is your like group texts that you do. Dude, it's so unique and I like it so damn much. Can you share just the whole group text stuff that you do? Like, it's so good.
Yeah, we have a group text, which it used to be really crazy and popping off all the time when there was like 10 of us. We got bigger now, so it's not as popping off as much, but we hold high accountability. There's jokes flying in there. It's a lot of fun. We do break it down into other group chats. So, you have an open house group chat, new listing group chat, but then there's the team group chat in general. And that's where, we kind of put people on blast sometimes. We celebrate people sometimes. It's a lot of fun in there.
Good, good. And like, what's your mindset around that? Just be communicative and be direct, or what?
There's a couple things of that too, because a lot of agents feel that they should just call me. Hey, I have a problem with this deal. I'm going to call Geoff. That's one way of doing it, and it's not the ideal way. And for many reasons. One is that you're probably not the only agent, especially when we're bringing all these new agents on, that are going to have that issue. So by not putting that question in the group chat, you take away from the people that also have it. You take away from the other agents that are going to, need to give answers back. Like my agents that would answer those would be gaining themselves by answering other questions. So when you kind of circumvent that, everybody loses. I'm not just saying I don't want to answer your questions. I do, and I do it often. But there's so many more people can win when it's in a public forum like that.
Yeah, make it a coaching opportunity for everybody, right? And the other thing, like you said, let all the agents win. Like other people are going to have other experiences and perspective from those experiences that are also valuable.
Oh yeah.
Right? Like us team leaders, selling all these houses, we've seen a lot of shit, but we haven't seen all the shit. Every real estate deal can be very unique, as anyone listening to this podcast, and right, Geoff?
I'm going through one right now. And then so with a new agent, and we had to initiate an arbitration. I've only been on the other end of that. I'd never had to initiate one. And then like I'm asking questions and then sending emails. And he was like, whoa, like, don't you know how to do this? I said, no, man, we're doing this together. Like this is all of our first times doing this, but I'm helping you. I'm asking the right people. I'm getting it done. But this is how you do that when you don't know.
Yeah, dude, I've never had to initiate arbitration on a deal. So yeah, that's super unique.
Yeah.
That's super unique. So for the other team leaders listening, Geoff, especially the ones who are in that valley of despair or growing but struggling phase that we all know is super well, what advice would you give them about scaling without losing culture?
Mhm. KFR is the answer, so you got to do it. And then losing culture is the result of that at scale. So that is the magic thing, is to keep that culture in there. And I think it's through what I thought was just a group chat. I thought, hey, we had the group chat, we have the little outings as a team, and all those things are fine and dandy. And as a Christian, Jesus would, leave the flock to get the one. So when you notice the drift,
Good.
make that phone call, get a lunch, be in person and connect with the ones that are drifting away, because it doesn't work for everybody. And if you want to
And
keep
that's
that,
okay.
and that's okay. Yeah. So like what I did was this week, I made appointments with my agents that have not been active in the group chats. And now we're going to go to lunch. We're going to talk. We're going to chat. And I'm hoping that that's going to keep the culture alive as much as it can.
That is such a good answer and well thought out.
Yeah.
Even though I just asked you out of the blue on that one. But I like that because it's like proactive, right? Like somebody isn't showing up, somebody isn't hanging around. Why not reach out to them? And many people get into a mindset where they're, oh, well, if they're not showing up, then whatever, they're out, they're not working, whatever. But like I said, I think I already said this, we have a duty to the people who decide to allow us to lead them. And I really like your thing about the shepherd and the Christianity thing in there. That's really good.
You don't want people to leave. And as a team leader, like I find it odd that somebody would sit and struggle. Like to me, that's odd. If I have a question, I'm gonna text you. I'm gonna text Shep. Like
Yeah.
I'm not gonna sit and struggle. I find my answers. And then when an agent's like just sitting in this, I'm not happy here. I don't know what to do here, and they're not asking for us. It's like, well, why didn't you ask? Why didn't you ask? As a leader, that's an ignorant, standpoint, and you have to go and meet them. They joined your team. You have to go and meet them before, because they'll just leave. They'll be so fed up, so fed up. You're never going to get that conversation. Hey, Geoff, I'm about to leave. I want to have this conversation. Like that's not coming. So
Yeah. Good. Really like that. So you've been at this for a while, bro. And you run hard, right? Like your
yeah,
pace is nonstop. Go.
yeah.
How do you personally stay grounded?
Well, that's again elevating like who you hang out with. So like talking to guys like Tyler, and I like to throw that work life balance thing out the window. And it's
Right
just,
out.
you just have to be 100 where you're at. So at work, be 100% at work. At home, be 100% at home. And you're gonna have to find little habits to make that possible, because our phones never stop. So like maybe it's turning your phone off, putting it in a certain room at home. But through faith and through family is how we stay grounded. And if you just like, they're not going to come and tell you that, hey, dad, like we haven't played outside in a week. Like they're not going to tell you that. They're just going to drift away. And those are the people that you want least to drift away. So like that's something I'm working on always. It's definitely not perfect by any means.
Yeah, dude. Such a good answer. What do you do to make sure that you have energy and aren't just running on fumes, bro?
Yeah. So at the growth conference we were just at, it was like fuel, fitness, and maybe finances or something like that. But the fuel and the fitness side of it was, what are you filling your body with? And I try not to do as much, even just the negative stuff on TV, like the shows, the movies we watch, like that's just negativity pouring into you. That's not all about being super fit and healthy. For me, it's more of journal, having time with God, and then you do try to eat healthier and stuff like that, and then try to be active. So it doesn't have to be 2 hours in the gym. It can be a half-hour walk with your wife, or a walk on lunch, because it is hard. Like we'll get up at 5 and we won't go to bed till midnight. And if you have the bad habits, drink pop, eat sugar like crazy, you'll burn out way faster than the other people.
Oh yeah, if you're surviving on that drive-through real estate diet, then like take it from me who used to survive on that. Like your energy just tanks. You've been putting, shit fuel into your body. Like what do you expect? Right? So what advice do you have for team leaders out there listening?
I say like never stop getting coached. So I'm probably the most coached person like I know besides like you guys, but you could literally look back through my business and see, okay, he went way up here. What happened? He hired a coach here. Like, okay, well then he went way up here. He did a different coach there. So for team leaders, like I know you feel like you got it all going on and you're smart as hell, but you're really not. So That's my biggest thing is
You know any good team leader coaching organizations, Geoff?
Reside would be the number one.
All right, good answer. Now, thank you for that. Not planned, everybody, but he said it so well. I wasn't going to not let him get away without it plugged. How
Yeah.
about for agents? What advice do you have for the agents out there listening?
Agents, I mean, it's the same thing. And I would say join a team. Whenever anybody's like, hey, if you would start over, because I just came in here solo, I did it myself.
Totally.
I would have joined a team right away now, knowing what it is, and it's preferably a Zillow team. Yes, you're going to make less money, but actually, you probably won't because you're actually going to do deals. So for me, even if your goal was to run your own team or do 40 million a year in sales as a solo agent, start on a team and learn. You have to learn before you earn.
Yeah, so good. So, if somebody wants to send you a referral in Indiana, where do they hit you up at, brother?
Yeah, Instagram is the easiest. Just Geoff Cavender on Instagram. Google me. Reside platform. Hopefully, you're already in there.
Yeah, hell yeah. Okay, final question. Man, you're full of the plugs, dude. I'd love it. Good stuff. Looking ahead, what's next for you and the team, and any big goals or projects you're really excited about?
Yeah, we opened an expansion office, which I plan on doubling our agent count with by next year. So I'm thinking
Yeah,
by
baby.
July we'll be at about 50 agents. So
Yeah, dude, that's big. Well, guys, everyone listening, make sure you send Geoff all your referrals in any market that he does, because the dude is a hustler. His team is doing big things. Keep a lookout for them. Geoff, really thankful that you came on, dude. Hopefully everyone reaches out to you. Everyone listening and watching, if you got value from today's episode, make sure to follow, like, subscribe, share with a friend. Make sure to check out Geoff online on his socials. And I'm Sunit Agrawal. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you on the next episode of the Reside Platform Podcast. Peace.